Hey everyone, welcome to this full moon Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for the full moon on Monday, June 17th, 2019. All right, so a full moon in Ophiuchus, right next to the Galactic Center. If you're expecting me to say Sagittarius just then, be sure to check out the link down below. We are using the actual size of the constellations, which does change the signs from mainstream astrology. All right, so full moon here, right at the end of Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, is all about connecting to that side of ourself that can really accept the deeper dimensions of life and the deeper dimensions of ourselves. And in this acceptance process, we transform. And so likely with this full moon, great time for transformation, a bit of rebirth, and maybe letting things go with that galactic center that we can release and liberate and start anew from. So this kind of energy getting activated, and just really good to set some intentions perhaps around this stuff in our life. So the full moon is going to be conjunct Jupiter, so it is quite buoyant at the same time, maybe a bit free-spirited, maybe feeling a bit inspired, maybe there's some potentials with some of these things. There's also square up to Neptune, which means that this whole month, really, this lunar month, has been about gaining greater receptivity. And in this sense, greater flow, spiritual development, and just asking ourselves, what can we be more receptive about along this life journey? All right, so let's take a look at this, as well as some of the aspects that we have here around this Monday, here in more detail when we return. All right, so here is the chart for this full moon. Again, for Monday, the time will be 0551 Eastern Time of the Americas, if you do want to make that calculation. But for all intents and purposes, we'll be feeling it both Sunday, Monday, and as well as Tuesday. And yeah, this video is for all 3 days, and then I'll be making the daily forecast for Wednesday. All right, so let's take a look at this. Here's the full moon opposite the sun, right at the end of the constellation Ophiuchus, which is where the center of the galaxy is. Here about 1 degree at the end of Ophiuchus, almost right smack on the galactic center. So Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, is the constellation that is about becoming more aware of and integrating through acceptance these deeper dimensions of the human experience. If we look at ancient civilizations, we can see that the serpent has been very symbolic of healing and very symbolic of, again, this very physical side of the human experience that we can work with. And in this case, the serpent bearer is about working with the serpent, doing things like healing, perhaps, doing things like alchemy or transformation in our life. And this could, of course, be on a spiritual level, but it can also be on a emotional or mental and even physical level when it comes to healing and transformation. So essentially asking ourselves, what can we work with on the deeper level? Again, it could be essential to our physical bodies. It could be instinctual. It could be what we consider the human experience. And it could also be what we consider our shadow when we deal with the psychological realms of it. In fact, with this constellation, it's very much about integrating this shadow, these deeper aspects of ourself that we're not aware of fully. And by becoming more conscious of and shining that conscious light on them, we can integrate. So doing shadow work, accepting these deeper aspects of ourself that might come up from the full moon can lead to greater integration, essentially, right? As we accept more of these parts of ourselves that we've shunned away or hidden away or we're just not aware of, as we accept them, integrate them, we become more holistic, right? We become more whole, and we become closer to, you could say, our true self and more of our true self, and in this way feeling healed and transformed. So this is the kind of energy we're working with now with the Galactic Center. This can maybe just simply have to do with releasing for some of us, because the center of the galaxy is essentially the void. It's the void energy. It's the black hole we have in the center of the galaxy. So when planets pass over this, it is usually this releasing process. So asking ourselves, what can we release at this time that will allow for greater freedom, transformation, the post-releasing energy of new beginnings emerging from that. So what can we release and let go of, and in this way liberate ourselves, you could say, spiritually, and transform? Now, down in the comment section, there is a birth chart calculator. I highly recommend going to that calculator and seeing exactly where the Galactic Center is in your chart. So in other words, when you go to your birth chart, you'll see the Ophiuchus symbol here, and find out which house is 1 degree at the end of Ophiuchus. The houses are going to be numbered on the inside here. These aren't numbered here, but you'll see numbers on the inside of the chart here. Find out what house is at the end of Ophiuchus. And this will tell you specifically which area of life this full moon and this releasing and this transformation is taking place. Also down below, next to that birth chart calculator, will be a PDF where you can see exactly what the house meanings are. For some of you, this might deal with relationships. Some of you may be about career. Others may be about home. Whatever the area is, you can get more information on that down below. So looking at this a little bit further now, we do have some aspects with the full moon. First and foremost, of course, is the opposition to the sun. We always have oppositions with full moons. In this case, the sun is in grounded Taurus. So it's very important with this full moon, as this all energy of Ophiuchus, to ground it into the natural realm of Taurus. That's what we've been focused on for about the past month in terms of cultivating a greater connection to our inner resources. You may have noticed themes around cultivating our self-reliance, our natural gifts, our inner value, creating more material security, perhaps, these kinds of matters. And so it's a really good time to integrate that side of ourselves. How can we ground ourselves in nature? And by nature, I mean, maybe quite literally nature. In fact, all healing, if we look again to the ancient civilizations, all healing was always very much rooted in the natural world and in nature. So maybe quite literally nature, but even our own physical bodies and ourself, our inner, again, strength and inner stability, our inner groundedness. Also things like self-reliance, really good to ground this transformation, because we have to rely on ourselves. We have to trust ourselves. We have to have a good sense of self-value in order to go through this transformation process in a grounded way. So grounding it into that internal strength, internal stability, and also in the natural realm, nature, but also maybe comforts, enjoying simple life, good meals, things like this also help us ground us. Connecting to our senses, smells, touch, taste, beautiful things. All right, these things help ground us so that we can go through transformation processes. So with the full moon, we do have a conjunction to Jupiter, which is actually kind of making this quite buoyant. Normally, this is quite deep energy, with the Ophiuchus. But with Jupiter, this is very fiery energy. It's very post-transformation kind of energy. So with the conjunction, there might be some buoyancy, maybe some things we're open-minded about regarding this releasing and transformation, maybe inspired about, maybe there's some opportunities, maybe we're gaining some wisdom about some stuff, and some of this stuff could be coming to a head because full moons are about culmination. And you could even say that this time period, this part of the month and also this part of the year, is a time of finalizing, fully cultivating and developing the healing energy of ourself, the transformative, freeing energy of ourself, and with Jupiter, maybe some of these potentials or things we've been inspired about. So there is definitely that free-spirited and even adventurous and philosophical and buoyant kind of energy culminating with this full moon as well. And that side of ourself being integrated as well. How can we be open-minded and inspired about some of these things that we're transforming or releasing? Now with the full moon, there's also a square up to Neptune, which is this Jupiter square Neptune energy that we've had this year. Since January, it's been going on. And in this case, the square to Neptune, nothing new. We've actually been feeling this. We felt this during the last new moon as well. But in this case, it's a really good time to challenge ourselves with greater receptivity. How can we set intentions to have greater flow in our life? Maybe develop spiritually or accept what is, and again, surrender and release, which can lead to greater peace and tranquility. Maybe do things that allow us to have greater rest, or again, just greater peace in life, all right? And just fundamentally asking ourselves, what can we be more receptive about? because there's likely with this full moon, with Neptune and this Galactic Center and all those, there's something greater emerging, right? And so how can we be receptive to that and set intentions to, yes, take some actions, maybe some grounded spiritual development, meditation, yoga, getting up early perhaps, getting some rest maybe, being more accepting, more present. These kinds of things makes this an excellent way of working with the full moon, because squares are all about the implementation. And when we're implementing healthy, receptive Neptunian energy, we allow for this greater stuff to emerge. You could call it the greater plan. You could call it the present moment, whatever this more receptive stuff is that we're needing to integrate as well at this time. All right, so that's the full moon in a nutshell. Now, in terms of the aspects here, we've had a lot going on this part of the week. If you haven't yet seen the weekend video, do check that out, because that's going to describe a lot of energy on Sunday. But as we approach Monday, again, we'll be at 05:51 a.m. in the Eastern time of the Americas. As we approach that, we're going to notice more energy and more insight coming in, and then likely around Monday, some sort of awareness about some of this transformative, deeper, buoyant, spiritual stuff that we're talking about. Some awareness, some cultivation, could be the area of life that's happening for you down below, right? This harvest time, this awareness, this heightened part of the lunar cycle. Then as we start to get into the rest of the week, so Tuesday onward, it's about implementation. Implementing whatever these insights are or whatever's coming ahead during this part of the week on Monday. All right, so with this, we also do have a minor yearly transit, Saturn sextiling Neptune. That's also been going on since January. This one's been going on since January 31st. And if there's been anything there that you have been building towards maybe some ideals or building towards some dreams this year, or ideals or things that, again, kind of have that spiritual energy to them, maybe another step in the right direction with this. We could notice with the full moon, things shifting, especially with Jupiter square Neptune as well at this time, things shifting, becoming more integrated, more, they take on a new level, and they just make a little bit more sense in regards to what exactly are we cultivating spiritually or with our dreams or ideals here this year. And a nice step in the right direction with this. And between now and November 8th, we had the last contact with Saturn Neptune, which between now and then makes it a really good time of implementation. So with this insight we're gaining, whatever is harvesting, implementing it through November. All right, and then on a more daily sense, on Tuesday here, we do have Mercury conjunct up to Mars. They've been getting very close to each other, and that's happening in Gemini down here. And so we may just notice going into the rest of the week, maybe a bit more directness with our communication, maybe feeling quite assertive with that or with how we're thinking about things. And just a new chapter with that side of ourself that can be direct, assertive, independent when it comes to communication, exchanging with others, or maybe just the way we're thinking about things or our perspective. And with Mars, it always makes it a really good time to express the truth. There could actually be some depth easily communicated or just more communicated because we are willing to be direct, right, and confident and assertive when it comes to the truth of life and what really matters on a deep level. All right, everyone, so that's everything going on. Again, the most fundamental thing with this part of the week is the full moon. Full moon in Ophiuchus conjunct the Galactic Center. Great time for incorporating and integrating these deeper aspects of the self. We might call our shadow. We might call things that we can face, like fears, patterns we can break, things we can release that liberate us and free us up, transform us for new beginnings to emerge from that. They might be inspiring things with Jupiter. There might be things we've been open-minded about or being cultivated at this time. And a square to Neptune, being receptive, right? Setting the intention to see how we can allow more flow and receptivity into our life intentionally, consciously with the square. And keeping all of this nice and grounded in Taurus with the sun here, remembering that we do need to, of course, stay rooted and grounded in the material realm as we go through these sort of spiritual types of transits. All right, everyone, so have a fantastic full moon. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like the video if you liked it and share it with your friends and family. Very much appreciated. And I will see you all next time for the next daily video. Take care.